Hello and welcome. If this is your first time here, I'm Garth Allen. This is Racing News Now, and welcome into the season premiere of Your Next Favorite Driver, Season 3 now for the off-season between 2021 and 2022. Our first guest this season is Nick Sanchez. How's it going today, man?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So I hear you're actually kind of on vacation right now. We just talked about this a little bit before we started. Not really a vacation though, but you're getting to enjoy Disney a little bit right now.
Yeah, never hurts to be back in Florida. Just spending time with the family in Disney.
Nice. So let's start out just from the very beginning here. We're going to start off with getting to know your racing background, then we get into your personal life a little bit. But let's start from the very beginning. What got you started in racing? What made you decide this is what you want to do for a career?
That's very broad, and to answer that, obviously, I think I'd have to go back to the very beginning. My great uncle, he gave me tickets, I think when I was 5, to my first NASCAR race at Homestead. He's a longtime NASCAR fan, but he gave me tickets to the truck race, and I'm pretty sure I was in kindergarten at the time. My dad took me, and I liked it. But I think every 5-year-old, like when you take them to see race cars, they like it.
Right.
So I mean, I guess that was my first introduction to it. But it wasn't until probably 7 years later, I was actually playing tackle football, and I had always liked the thought of not racing like in a go-kart or like short tracks. I was like, how do I become a NASCAR driver? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I started. And I was playing tackle football at the time, and I was telling my parents, like, I really want to race. Like, I don't want to play football. It's just not me. And at that point, obviously my dad always had me riding around in ATVs or UTVs. We had a bunch of stuff around the house that I could just go ride. So I drove, obviously not raced. But one night, me and my mom were like searching how to become a NASCAR driver, and we had no idea like late models, legend cars, or even go-karts existed. But we were able to find out like, the stepping ladders, and go-karts obviously was the start of it. So we searched. I lived in Miami, so we searched around. I guess in Miami, NASCAR is not very prominent, but the Formula car stuff is. So there's a lot of go-karting and a lot of karting around the state of Florida and in Miami. So we were able to get connected to the team, and they put me in a go-kart. I would train twice a week. Eventually, I think it was 4 months of practicing and getting used to it. Is when I did my first race, and just did that for 3.5 years.
Nice. So who was your favorite driver growing up?
I think Dale Jr. It was a mix between Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart. Just because Dale Jr., it's iconic.
Right.
How could you not love the car?
Yeah.
And Tony Stewart, I did like the Home Depot car, but those are definitely my two favorite drivers.
Tony was actually my favorite too after Dale Jarrett retired. Dale Jarrett was my original, and then I picked up Tony after Dale retired. So yeah. What's your favorite track you've raced on so far?
I think I would say either Charlotte or Phoenix. Okay. Charlotte because of the sensation of speed. When I first tested that track in May, it was an eye opener because you don't have time to even breathe.
Right.
And Phoenix, I feel like it's a track that I have the most reps at. But it's also very unique and it's tough. So it makes me as a driver work for it, and I like that.
So building on that, what's your favorite track overall? Just anything that you like watching the upper series go to, or maybe it's one of those as well.
Yeah, I feel like my favorite track overall would probably be any 1.5 miles. I feel like 1.5 mile racing, it takes a lot in a driver. There's other factors that you can't control, like air. And I think the best really manipulate it. So I would say 1.5 miles, and obviously Kansas, being able to win there, that would probably put it at the top. Kansas or Charlotte, but any 1.5 miles really is good with me.
I feel like you're in the minority there. It seems like most fans don't like the 1.5 miles these days. So nice to see that somebody does at least.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned it, and I think we know what the answer to this one's going to be, but because it just happened recently. But what is your most memorable moment in your career thus far?
I mean, how could you not say Kansas?
Right.
First ARCA win is really, really something special in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It was unexpected. And the way it happened, the day that it happened, Ty won the Xfinity race, which obviously, that's what I'm going to do next year. And it's kind of a good comparison. It's a good measuring stick
Mm-hmm.
for where I'm at. And, to beat him on a day that he won the Xfinity race and he had a full race under his belt, in a track like Kansas that, it's a track that matters in my opinion. You have to learn how to run those tracks. I mean, to say that wasn't my best moment would be just be lying.
Right. So let's talk about your backstory a little bit with Rev Racing. We talked about this a little bit before we started. You have a pretty interesting story with how you got hooked up with Rev Racing in the beginning.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was at the time that I was really moving out of karts.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was kind of at the point in my career, I did not really know much about NASCAR or how to get there. I knew about the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series, but,
Mm-hmm.
the steps to get there, I knew you just didn't go from a go-kart to that.
Right.
So I was definitely looking at that, but, also the Formula car side of it, not really Formula One, but like the road to Indy, the Mazda road to Indy. I had a lot of friends that were kind of getting started in that, like USF 2000 type stuff. And originally I wanted to go to that, and I was like, let's go to the Skip Barber thing so I could get my first taste of a car, and then maybe go to the USF side. But then I don't know why we were kind of doing a little more research on the NASCAR stuff, and we didn't find Rev searching for sponsorship or minority opportunities. We found Rev searching for the ladders, and we found legend cars, and then we searched up legend car stuff, and Rev came up, and we pressed on it and looked more into it, and we were like, that's interesting, let's apply for the youth combine, not the big one with the late models and K&N cars, the youth one. So we applied to that, and the first person to contact us back was Jefferson Hodges from Rev, and we got connected with him. We talked, we kind of told him I've never been in a car, straight out of go-karts, and he told us the best thing to do is get reps and get laps in a legend car. So we, at the time, we went to Charlotte. I think it was November of 2016, and I did my first test in a car. It happened to be a legend car at the Charlotte 5th Mile. Did my first test there, and then I went back to Florida and I raced about 4 to 5 times in a legend car. I want to say it was at between the racetracks Bronson Speedway and Citrus County Speedway. I raced at those I think combined 4 or 5 times.
Okay.
And then we got reconnected with Jefferson and Rev, and they pretty much said, did you want to go to Charlotte and do the Bojangles Summer Shootout? So I did that in 2017, the summer of 2017, in the Young Lion class, and we did pretty good. I think we were actually able to win one race, I believe, and we finished top 3 5 or 6 times. Those are the only times I finished. But we ended up, I think, finishing 5th overall in the championship. So it was a really good debut for me, and luckily they liked what I did enough to invite me to the big combine that October. And that September was actually my first time in a late model at Hickory. I did my first late model test at Hickory, and then I did another one at New Smyrna ahead of the combine. Then I was able to go to the combine, and I would say the combine consists of media and on-track stuff, physical fitness. I did pretty good with the fitness. I think I did well for the on-track stuff. I guess at the time, looking at my experience, I had no experience in a late model, but my media side was horrible. I cannot do an interview to save my life. But
we're glad it's gotten better now.
Yeah, me too. Luckily enough that they took a chance on me and brought me in to drive their late model. And at that point, that was my, even though the legend car thing, I was driving for Rev. The late models was the first time I actually was able to drive, in their shop, under their banner.
Mhm.
So that was, my first taste of the stock car racing.
So was there ever a point there before you got hooked up with Rev that you felt like you were going to stick with that formula path, or was it always NASCAR?
You know, I guess you could say there was, financially, formula cars are pretty expensive. I mean,
Mhm.
karting, is very expensive, but
Yeah.
formula cars, we didn't really know the costs, so we were skeptical. And I was very adamant about like doing the Skip Barber thing and then, going into the road to Indy. But for some reason, I think it was more my mom because she was like, "Oh, but you like NASCAR, like why didn't you try that?" And I was like, "You know what? Why not?" I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't know if it was, the environment I was at the time. Everyone I raced with and all my friends, they loved formula cars. So like that was everyone's goal, go to the road to Indy. Some people had goals for Formula One, but I feel like that was out of reach.
Mhm.
Um, but everyone is kind of in that sector, and I was like, why don't I try something different? Nobody that I had knew nobody going in the NASCAR route, so I feel like that almost motivated me to go that way. I don't know why nobody's trying it, so let me go give it a shot. And that's, I guess, that was our decision behind what we did.
So, looking down the road now, 30, 35, 40 years down the road, when you finally hang up the helmet, what is your ultimate goal by that point? What do you want to be able to say when you retire that you have done in racing?
I definitely want to accomplish a lot on the track. I would love to have many, many wins and championships in the Cup Series, and just for my name to be, I guess, known around the world. Like, oh, he's a respectable, good driver. But also
Hmm.
off the track, obviously being in the NASCAR Driver Diversity Program. My dad's from Cuba, so really paved the way for minorities, Latin Americans, in the sector, maybe even from Miami. Um, Really, try to pave the way for people to get a shot, being a minority, especially Latin Americans. And I would love to see more of us in the NASCAR series. So I feel like, I guess hanging up my helmet, if I could accomplish that, it'd be a job well done.
Nice, yeah. So building off of that, what's at the top of your racing bucket list right now? Whether that be an event that you haven't been to yet, or a track you haven't been to, or a track you haven't raced on. What's at the top of that bucket list right now?
I feel like the top of my bucket list is, being able to drive for a top team, whether that be a Penske, a Joe Gibbs, or a Hendrick. Obviously, next natural step would be an Xfinity.
Hmm.
So I would say I wanna check that off in the Xfinity series before the Cup Series. I really, I would love to, contend for a championship with a team like that. I feel like I, I mean, at this point, I've run, super speedways, mountain halves, stuff like that. So I feel like if I didn't, I'd probably be at the top of my bucket list. But yeah, just being in the fastest car on the track would be awesome.
Yeah. So who's the coolest driver slash person in the garage that you've met so far?
I mean, how could you not say Noah
Okay.
Gregson?
Yeah.
He's given me some notes for the short track stuff, and the tracks like Kansas, and there's a reason fans love him.
Hmm.
He's, I mean, how could you not? He's a very interactive person with the fans, and they love that. And he's grown to be a very good brand on the track and off the track. So he's definitely cool. And then I feel like on the other side, Austin Cindric, having that mutual connection of Jefferson Hodges, he's helped me a lot in my road courses this year. I only had two, but he was pretty involved. He was able to talk to me on the phone and kind of coach me through it. But I also like how he's more my style, like quiet, under the radar, and it's very cool to see the work he puts into it.
Well, you're going to make a lot of viewers happy with that one. I know we've got some Gregson and Cindric fans that are regular viewers here, so I think you're going to make some people happy with that. If you could pick any one driver in NASCAR history to 1v1, who would it be and why?
1v1. I feel like Dale Earnhardt. I mean, how could you not pick him? He, obviously from watching footage and, from what everyone said, he was just very intimidating, hence his name. And I'd be curious to race him and, see what he does. Cause, sometimes you don't notice a characteristic of a certain driver until you race against him. And, his style is his style for a reason. And, it would just be awesome to, kind of see the behind the scenes on the track.
Definitely. Okay, so let's move more into the personal side of Nick Sanchez now. What's a typical day for you look like outside of the track?
Outside of the track, usually I'll wake up probably around 6. Gotta have the morning coffee. Anyone that knows me and is close to me knows that I have to have the coffee or else I'm just, I'm dead.
Okay.
So got to start off with a coffee, and then, usually I like to go to the, I have a gym at my house, so I'll usually go down there, maybe do a little hour cardio session or a strength session, whatever I feel like. At that point, I'll just head to the shop. I'll head to Rev. I've been going there every day for the past 4 years. Initially when I started going there, I would work on the cars, and now I'm in the office, working on partners for next year. So I'll go there, really do that till about lunch, have lunch, and then, head home and I wouldn't say relax, but maybe work on the mortgage stuff a little bit at that point.
So elaborate on the mortgage stuff. What is that?
So I also do that kind of on the side. I enjoy it. Most people look at it as work. I enjoy it. It's cool. My mom does it every day, so it's kind of cool to kibitz with her on it. I'm a mortgage broker, so I do loans for people. Probably weird for some. They're like, "Oh, but you drive." I'm like, "Yeah, but I do this too because it's fun." And really after that is kind of not hang out for me, but I just do odd stuff. Like, I'll just do mortgage stuff. I might go back and do, partnership stuff. I like to be involved in our rental properties in the Keys. So me and my mom will always see, what do we need? How's it doing? This and that. Might also mow the grass. Depends the day.
Okay.
So that's kind of a day in my life.
So that kind of leads into, I think, the next question of, if you weren't racing, what would you be doing? And I think you might have just answered that.
Yeah. I'd probably be doing mortgages. I don't like to think of it that way, but it's something that I was able to, really immerse myself in COVID. Had nothing else to do. It's something, I've grown up around. My mom's been in the business for 25 years, so it's almost like second nature to me. So that's definitely something I'd be doing if I wasn't racing, I feel like.
Okay. So what kind of hobbies do you have away from the track?
I would say, hobbies. I like to think I live my life around racing, but there, I do have other stuff. Hobbies, I would say me and my dad have always collected classic cars, so I like working on those with him. Driving them is always fun. When I did live in Miami, I did like to go boating, jet skiing, that stuff, but it's a little harder where I am now.
Yeah.
And in the winter, I like to go skiing. Other than that, I really like to live in racing, as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Favorite TV show?
I want to say Vampire Diaries.
Nice.
That might not be a popular opinion, but
yeah, not what I was expecting.
Yeah. I'll just go out there and, for the record, Vampire Diaries.
Okay. And what is it about Vampire Diaries?
I don't know. It's just a good show. It's a good love story.
Okay.
I can a long time. Yeah.
I can honestly say I've never seen Vampire Diaries. Maybe I should give it a shot.
It's pretty good. You know, the actors are pretty good. It's a good storyline.
Okay. I'll have to give it a shot then. All right. So what's one interesting thing that no one knows about you?
That nobody knows about me. I guess you could say I used to play tackle football.
Okay.
Not a lot of people know that, you know, but then everyone's kind of played a sport at some point in their life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a coffee fanatic. Like I said, you know, the people that know me, that are around me know that I have to go get coffee. They only know that because I drag them to get coffee. But you know, fans, you know, people in the industry, they might not know I'm like a diehard coffee fanatic.
Yeah.
Like not just drinking it, but you know, I enjoy different flavors. You know, I even make mine at my house, so I always test and tune on my little machine. Yeah, I'm pretty into that stuff.
You gonna go the Trevor Bain route one of these days and open a coffee shop?
Yeah, yeah. Except it'll probably take me an hour to make a cup. So
Hey, as long as it's good, people wait for it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't mind doing that as long as I didn't have to make it. But yeah.
Okay. All right, so that moves us into the final portion of the show, and we're gonna play a little game of this or that. You ever played this or that before?
No, never.
Okay, so basically, I'm just gonna throw out two options for you. Rapid fire, you pick whichever one that you like better between the two. You can explain why if you want to. If not, we'll just move on to the next one. Okay?
I gotcha.
All right. Throw you a softball for the first one. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't had a cat or a dog in years, but I feel like cats are just easier to take around. I feel like I don't want to say nicer, because some cats are not nice. But, you know, they're smaller and you could carry them around, I guess. So
yeah.
Makes everything easier.
You know, I was always a dog person, but now I'm getting a cat and I see why people like cats.
Really?
I never understood it until now, but now I do. So, yeah. Dirt track or pavement?
Pavement. You know, I've tested a micro on the dirt. I just like pavement. I feel like, you know, you might have you're more in control in the pavement, and I feel like it's also harder, you know, because you have road courses and ovals on pavement. You don't really have that on dirt, so I think pavement all the way.
Okay. Road course or oval?
Road course.
Okay.
And I'm only saying that because I was a road course driver before I was an oval driver. I've only been running oval since in a late model 2018. You know, the foundation of my career was built on a road course, so I always attribute that to my oval racing. And I feel like, you know, road course racing, as a driver, you have to be more focused. And, you know, I feel like there's a certain flow that goes with it, you know, even down to shifting and the braking. And I feel like, I don't know, road course.
Okay. Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Okay.
Definitely Netflix.
Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram. Yeah, I love Instagram.
Yeah, same. I can't stand Twitter. I only have it because I kind of have to have it. But
me too.
Yeah. Football or basketball?
Football. I love football.
Okay. Burger or taco?
Burger. Definitely burger.
Yeah, same. Passenger or driver?
Driver. I hate driving with people.
Yeah.
Doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah. Car or truck?
Truck.
Okay.
Safer.
TV show or movie?
Movie.
Okay. Country or pop?
Pop. I'm not a country guy at all.
Superman or Batman?
Batman. It's a cool car.
There we go. $1 million in your bank account or an IQ over 145?
An IQ over 145.
Okay.
Stupid as it sounds. I mean, hey, one should get you the other.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of my thought with that. If you're smart enough that you're over 145, you're probably smart enough to make $1 million at least.
Boom.
So
that's it.
Yeah. Be born in the future or in the past?
In the past, I feel like just for for the racing reason.
Hmm.
I think racing in the 70s and the 80s were a lot more dangerous, but also the cream rise to the top, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Ferrari or Lamborghini?
I would say neither if you threw in
Okay,
another manufacturer, but I guess I'd say Ferrari.
okay. I guess we can throw in Chevy since you drive that.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say Porsche.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
we'll go with Porsche then.
yeah, we'll go with Porsche.
Okay. Um, work at SpaceX or Google?
SpaceX all
Yeah.
the way. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that'd probably be mine too.
yeah. I mean, I don't know what you do at Google.
Yeah. Well, I
Google
mean,
search stuff.
yeah, exactly. Well, and one of my goals before, like on my bucket list before I die, is I want to go to space. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
could become a reality
I
very
hope
soon.
so. I hope so. All right. I think that's all I got for you. So, Nick, thanks for joining us. Thanks for letting us get to know you a little better. And I'm sure we'll talk to you more throughout 2022 as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.